Got some interesting games recently. First, we're going to start with Russell Westbrook and Oklahoma City Thunder going down 3-1 against the Portland Trailblazers. And a lot of people are saying Dame over Russ now. And people are saying that Russ is more talented. And when you look at both of their resumes, Russ has had extensively better career. Been to the finals, MVP, averaging triple double for about 3 straight seasons. However, since KD left, he's like 4-11 in postseason, and his game during the regular season is not translating into the playoffs. Part of the problem is Russell Westbrook has been taking a lot of his matchups and a lot of competition too seriously and personally. As you can see in the series, where every shot that Russ hit, he's like screaming to high heaven, going at Dame. Dame, on the other hand, is scoring and not really saying much. He's what he does. He scores. He's a playmaker. It is what it is. That's what he does. But Russ, on the other hand, is banging on his chest, screaming. You saw in the game 4 when they went down 3-1. Russ hits a three in Damian Lillard's face. He's like beating on his chest, saying this is my house, etc., etc. But the game was far from over, and then the Blazers went on like 11-2 run. The problem with Russ is this: if he feels that he's not getting the better of somebody, essentially he stops playing. Once he feels like people are getting the better of him in terms of scoring or one-on-one matchup, he kind of disengages from the game the way that he normally would engage. And that means that he's not going to play lockdown defense. Like, for example, that game, he only scored 1 point in the second half. He went 0 for 7 in the second half, only scored 1 point. But there's other things you can do other than scoring. Why don't you lock up Dame? Dame had 15, I believe, in the third quarter. McCollum had 14 or 13 in the fourth quarter. Why don't you lock up McCollum? Say, I'll guard him, you guard this guy. Like, these are the little things that put you on the higher echelon of players, and it changes the dynamic of a series. Maybe you guys find something in that, and you guard. Even if you lose the game, maybe you find something. Okay, I'm gonna guard him, you guard him, whatever the case is. Once Russ is not getting the better of the personal matchup, it's a whole detriment to the team. You know, right now people are saying Dame's better than Russ or whatever the case is. It's hard for me to say somebody's better than somebody in terms of, like, if you're averaging a triple-double for the season, obviously you affect the game in so many more ways. But in terms of the way the game is played today, in terms of scoring, passing, shooting, making good decisions, Dame is head and shoulders above Russ, because Russ is not a great shooter. He's a great passer, but he doesn't make good decisions with the ball, which negates your passing all to begin with. Dame is not that great of a passer either. Dame has high turnovers and stuff like that, but he makes the right plays. You saw that play where he threaded the needle, like a little lob pass to Harkless, gave him an 8-point lead down the stretch. Those are the little things that Russ could be doing, but he's not doing it. When OKC went on that run and they called back-to-back timeouts, that's when Russ should have been able to put the foot on the neck of the Portland Trailblazers, but he started making bad decisions with the ball, turnovers, bad passes, stuff like that. I mean, he just doesn't make good decisions with the ball. And Charles Barkley alluded to this in his presser, or whatever, post-game presser, and on TNT, he was like, Kawhi Leonard became a great player when he realized every time they called a play for him, it wasn't for Kawhi to score, it was for the Spurs to score. Well, Russ is not even like they're calling plays for Russ, really. Russ is just thinking he's going to score. He's going to plow the defense. He's going to do everything. It's a me mentality. He's leaving everybody out. But one thing I want to say as well, this is an indictment on Paul George. Paul George, for everything everybody said about him, and he has a shoulder injury. We're gonna put that in there. He has a shoulder injury. But don't you guys remember, I think it was game 3 or game 2. Every time he was making a shot, he kept kissing the shoulder. This is important, as a matter of fact. Game 2. Kissing the shoulder. Kissing the shoulder. He was mocking the fact that he had an injury. Now they lose the game, people like silent injury. I don't want that. You can't have it both ways. You can't have somebody saying he's injured, but then the guy's kissing on his shoulder like that. That's disrespectful to all these people that are coming to your defense saying that you're playing poorly because your shoulder's injured. Ridiculous. So, as much Russ is taking the heat, I would say Russ deserves 60% of the heat because he is their best player. Best players do take the heat. But Paul George needs to take some heat, man. This is like, how many series has he played where just out of nowhere he just starts like disappearing? Injury or not, he just disappears. I don't want to hear all that crap about Paul George being top tier or whatever the case is. Honestly speaking, Lakers probably did dodge a bullet by not getting Paul George because he probably would have folded in crunch time. Injury or not. And, you know what I'm saying? I'm just going to say injury or not because you're saying he's injured, but he's kissing on the shoulder. Moving on. Toronto Raptors, they defeat the Orlando Magic, take a 3-1 lead. The Kawhi Leonard is really playing like MJ. But then you got to remember who did Kawhi Leonard reach out to during a couple of summers ago? Kobe Bryant, who emulated his game after MJ. So the difference between MJ and Kobe is this. Kobe is like a remix version. Kobe put his flair on everything. The difference between Kawhi Leonard and MJ is this. Kawhi Leonard learned from Kobe, took MJ's moves, and he's doing MJ's moves exactly how MJ's doing them. Here's the big distinction between the Mamba and the GOAT, Jordan. Jordan was a master at getting open. Kobe never worried about getting open because to him he's always open. He's shooting over people. He's shooting over triple teams, quadruple teams. He's shooting over the whole team. Jordan wasn't like that. That's why he ended his entire career very efficient, averaging 30 points for his entire career. 30.1 points. This is extremely... Do you know how incredible that is? To average 30 for your whole career. Only other person to do that is Wilt Chamberlain. And Wilt had a 50 and 25 50 point per game, 25 rebounds per game season, which he didn't win the MVP, which is a travesty. But this is the level a guard is able to match one of the greatest all-time big men ever to play the game. Crazy. But Kawhi Leonard basically took pages out of MJ's book. I mean, people say he's not that great of a passer. This man making cross-court passes for Siakam to knock down shots. Nelson, I think his name is Nelson, knocking down shots. That Toronto, they're a good team. They're battle tested. They have playmakers now. I think they're not gonna fold anymore. Only problem they have is Lowry and Gasol. Gasol had 2 points. Lowry had like 8 points. Your starters have to give you much more production because you can't rely on your bench to give you record numbers like Siakam, Van Fleet, all these other guys coming off the bench that's giving you big numbers. You can't rely on that all the time. You need your starters to give you big numbers as well, consistently. But they're a tough team to beat. And I look forward to seeing them in the Eastern Conference Finals because Kawhi, the way Kawhi's playing, it reminds me of that 2017 run before he got hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was busting Golden State's butt. And we're seeing this now. Like, Kawhi, he really is, like, to me, he's super underrated. And on the fact that he's just giving you glimpses of MJ, like fadeaways, blocking shots, defense, steals, locking people up, making the right play, attacking. Just everything he does is simple and efficient. He gets open efficiently. He's not like a Kobe where, even though he trained with Kobe, he's not like a Kobe where Kobe was like basically, the way Kobe did things is like, I'm going to shoot over you point blank period. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to shoot over you, deal with it however it comes. Golden State against the Los Angeles Clippers. Golden State take a 3-1 lead. And they just have multiple luxuries. Klay Thompson finally woke up, had a 32-point game. Kevin Durant had 34. And Steph didn't even really have a great game. He had 12 points. But here's the thing. When Steph doesn't have a great game, he still affects the game in other ways. He had 10 rebounds. I think he had 7 assists. And that's what I'm trying to talk about with Russell Westbrook. Okay, you're not scoring a lot, but you could affect the game in other ways. Make plays for your teammates. Set screens, down screens, get some more rebounds, get some more assists. Little things that affect the game in a huge way. So Steph didn't really have a great game, but down the stretch he made some plays. He hit up KD for a wide open 3. He got to the basket, got a layup. These are the things that we're talking about here that champions do. Clippers, they put a valiant effort. It looked like they were going to win the game. It was 82-77. But the Golden State Warriors were able to eke it out. And what bothers me a little bit is like Lou Williams, how he went off in game 2, I believe. And then basically he's been like a non-factor since. And it's just kind of weird. Like, they wanted to put him in a starting lineup. He didn't want to go in the starting lineup. So basically, from what I'm gathering is he likes to doze on a lot of these people that are like second string, but he knows his limitations when it comes to the first string. Because even a lot of shots he hit in that game, they were tough contested shots, and I guess he doesn't want anybody to key in on him. But the Warriors are gonna look like they're gonna close out the series pretty soon, and they gotta face Houston. And the thing that to me that series is gonna be a great series, but it's gonna be a great defensive series. I think both teams are underrated defensively. Like Golden State, first of all, they are one of the best defensive teams out there, but with Houston's right there, they're a close second because the way that. But we gotta look at it as this as well. Is it that Houston's putting the clamps on Utah, or is that Utah just can't score? They don't have offensive firepower. But they're both great defensive teams, and the defense is gonna dictate that series, not the offense, the defense. Mark my words. And finally, we're looking at the Celtics against the Indiana Pacers. The Celtics swept the Pacers. They finally had that big number game where it's just like everybody outscored the Pacers and everything like that. But this is a cautionary tale I have for the Celtics. And I know like people feel like the Celtics are the best team equipped to beat the Warriors or give them trouble if they were to go to the finals. I disagree with that because of this factor here. The Celtics won these games, but it's not like they played their best basketball. Now they're going to have to go face a Milwaukee team that is deep like they are, has a superstar like they do, and has guys that can shoot the three like they do. That's going to be an interesting series. That's going to tell me everything I need to know about the Celtics. Now the Celtics, I think they beat the Bucks. They beat Philly and the Bucks I think last year or a year ago, or 2 years ago, one of those. They beat them already. But this is a different Giannis. You do have Jaylen Brown. They do have some guys that can guard Giannis, but at the same time, when he's sucking into double teams and all that, they have shooters now. So it's not the same Bucks team that you beat. So this is going to be really, really interesting. It's going to be. I'm really excited about that series. But one thing I have to say is the Celtics, they haven't really faced any real adversity this opening round. They actually won a couple games on accident. Like, basically, the Pacers threw away, like, 2 games. I want to say Game 1 they could have won. Game 2, Game 2 they definitely could. Game 1 they could have won. I think Game 3 it was, where I think the guy threw the ball out of bounds. It was Game 2 and Wesley Matthews threw the ball out of bounds. But the Pacers had their chances. So the fact that the Pacers had big chances, had big leads and stuff like that, still lets me know that they're still figuring each other out. Like, don't be sold that they're figuring themselves out. Don't be sold by that. This next series is gonna dictate if they're, if it's a clean sweep or a 5-6 game series, okay, they figured themselves out. If it's a 7 game series and then after that they gotta face off with Toronto, oh yeah, it's a problem, baby. It's a problem. They haven't figured themselves out. And I don't know, it's not a knock against Kyrie or nothing. It has nothing to do with Kyrie in my opinion, but something is going on there where these guys can't come together and gel. Because I think this is the only game 4, where they, really, really dominated. But all other games, Indiana was right in it. Point blank period. These are all my takes on the series. Let me know how you're enjoying it. Hoops Junction, where hoops meets hoopla. Like, comment, and subscribe.